Hey, what's up, everybody? What's going on? Another episode of Gonna See My Friends podcast. Thanks for coming along. As always, I'm here with my trusted companion, Tobias Maximus, aka Toby Ballinger. Toby, how you doing?
Idly ho, neighborino. It is very good to see you again. So good to be back.
Love
Very
it.
excited for this week.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us this week, listening. This week's going to be a barn burner, as they call it, as the kids say. This week we're going to be talking about Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes.
Yeah, this one's going to be really good because I think this is a classic with everybody, young and old, and I think that it's going to be just a lot of good stuff that's comes out of this movie. A lot of great actors, great set people come out of this movie. Just a lot to talk about. Yeah, so I'm excited. Are you excited, Toby?
I couldn't agree more. It's a movie for children of all ages.
Yes. Oh, yes.
I mean, talk about one of the early core memory of movies. It's one where I remember where I was when I first watched it. It holds up. It's got a veritable who's who of Hollywood, especially in their early years when these guys are hungry and they've got stories they want to tell. God, I mean, couldn't have been cooler. I mean, for 1981, it looks amazing for 1981. Incredible movie.
Yeah.
Where the blockbuster movies really started coming from,
Oh, excellent point. And I think we should just dive into that point right there and start talking about this.
Sounds good to me.
But before we start actually talking about the movie, though, I kind of wanted to get into kind of like you touched on a good point. I think this is going to be a topic or a point that I'm going to kind of stress is that you said this is kind of the movies that have become or the movies that began this kind of type of movie to become made and shown. And it's interesting because I think that this movie, like you said, 81, and it comes out and there's still like this transition between Jaws and this movie, and Jaws and movies like this that come forward after this is that I think for us too, you're only like a year or so older than me, right? Right, too. So it's
born in 72.
Yeah, so we're kind of for us, this is kind of like the palette like setter, so to speak, because we only know this going forward. Like, of course, 81. Oh yeah, Star Wars, this Superman. I mean, these movies are just coming to light in this.
Yeah, it's all we know, right?
Right. Because like this is what we kind of grew up with. Whereas there's a whole section of people that came before this that were just like, I don't like where this is going, and with the special effects and the bigness of the movie.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it, the bigness of the movie.
Yeah, because that in and of, I mean, they've imprinted themselves on kind of the zeitgeist of that time. And even today, I mean, this movie can probably stand up still today, right? Do you think?
Oh, absolutely. We watched it last night as our Friday night. What movie are we going to put on? I told Christina, what movie you guys doing this week? I said, we're doing Raiders. And she's like, well, we got to watch that. And I'm all, absolutely. When last week we did Rogue One, same thing. It's more, it's only 10 years old, but these are summer blockbuster movies.
Right.
And it's, so.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Agreed.
It's pre-cable. It's VHS or beta.
Yeah.
And the theaters, like this is when the theaters were kind of really popular. Everybody was going. And this was kind of the beginning of a new age because I think I had mentioned this documentary to you before. I think it's called A Decade Under the Influence, where you had this decade between 67 and 77 or, 76, 77 that had kind of these companies coming in and buying all of the movie studios, because Jack Warner was retiring or they were dying off and they were selling off parts of their movie studios. And these companies just didn't know how to make movies. These people, these kids, Coppola, Scorsese, Philip Kaufman, all these people came out and just said, here's some, I can do this movie. And a lot of them were just like, all right, here's your money. Just invite me to the premiere. And they were just kind of making, The Godfather, The Conversation, all these kind of Rocky, just all these movies. But in the same time, it was this kind of what, like the hero is kind of anti-hero. The hero is always kind of gray area, wasn't always black and white. So you had like Jaws and Star Wars, where these companies were like, "Oh, wait, hold on. We get it. Okay, now we kind of get how to do this," and it launches this kind of movie. Toby, tell me about the time that you saw this. When was the first time you saw this?
Well, the first time, so it comes out in 1981. I'm 10 or 11 years old. It's in June of 81, so God, I did the math. Born in 72, so I'm 11 years old. And this was the back in the day, like you said, no cable. There's 3 channels,
Yeah,
and it's in the theater. Now, at the theaters didn't know what to do with these summer blockbusters, because if you went to a movie theater, say it's got 4 screens, the big blockbuster is going to be, up to that point, it's only on that one screen. This is at the time where these movie theaters have to adjust and play the same movie on multiple screens in the same building. What?
yeah,
They
yeah,
didn't do that. Now this is just, it's just the norm, where
yeah,
you've got a
yeah,
showing, and then halfway through that showing it's starting on another screen, so you can get as many people.
yeah,
Sometimes these theaters, you'll go to the theater and they'll be on 3 screens. Well,
yeah,
that was not, not as much back then, but you didn't have VHS, you didn't have Laserdisc at the time. If you didn't see it in the theater, you missed it.
yeah,
So the
yeah,
first time
yeah,
I saw it was, and I remember it very distinctly because of what an impact this movie had.
yeah,
It was at my parents went to their friend's house for a dinner party. It's 3 couples and all their kids. So the kids, us kids, we were told that after dinner we're going to put on Raiders of the Lost Ark. This was the rich family. They had a theater in their house with
Oh
a
wow.
with a projection, and they had it on Laserdisc. And so it would have to be 1984, which is when Laserdisc comes out. Blockbuster Video is not even in existence yet. I think Blockbuster doesn't start till 85, somewhere in there. There aren't video stores on every corner like they would end up being, and now they're
Yeah,
all gone.
yeah,
But so I didn't want to go to this dinner party. I remember it very distinctly. I'm the oldest of this group of however many kids it was. It was me and my brother, and then their kids. So there's 2, and then I think the other people had 2 or 3 kids. So it was like 7 kids. They just put us in that room and said, if you guys behave during dinner, you can put this movie on. And
yeah,
so that was like the carrot that they had dangled. And so I just didn't want to go to this, but I knew, oh, we get to watch Raiders of the Lost Ark. So pumped for this, right? So they put it on, they put us in the room, closed the door, and us kids are in there watching this Raiders of the Lost Ark. PG movie, which I don't think it would be a PG movie today, but there was no PG-13 at the time. So it's like,
right, yeah,
it's not an R, but it's
right,
not really PG-13. There's a
yeah,
lot of stuff in here that, I mean, there's some scary ass stuff. I remember the kids crying. I was certainly startled, and I think we all know what we're talking about. At the end, I don't want to jump right to the end, but there's some core memories of, Christina last night was like, we get to the face melter. I mean, these are things you don't forget this stuff, man. That's 40 some years ago, and you do not forget this. So
yeah,
I remember it I don't think I blanked through the whole thing. I loved
yeah,
everything from the beginning, the stone coming and the whip and the sword fighting, and yeah. So it was in Santa Rosa, right in your neighborhood,
yeah. Nice.
by Doyle Park there,
Okay.
and yeah. Oh, loved it. I remember the kids were in tears. They were absolutely terrified at that the movie. I don't want to jump too far ahead again, but yeah, I was asking Troy, I'm all, do you remember going to that? Because you would have
Uh,
been like 7 during this. That must have been absolutely terrifying for a 7-year-old. But anyway, when's the
well,
first time you saw it?
that I was 7 when we went and saw it.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it was in Sacramento. I was living in Sacramento at the time, and it was, I don't know if it was on, if you get into, like, if you're driving into Sacramento and you take 50, right? And you
Yep.
keep going in, and if you look to the left, it's downtown,
Yep.
all the thing. But if you look to the right, there was this residential neighborhood, and there was a
West
little,
Sac.
yeah, no, that's before. We're going right
Okay.
into, and there's this little like theater there with the marquee and everything. And I remember
Okay. I know
seeing
it.
it
I know what you're
there.
talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I remember seeing it there. And I remember like coming out of the theater and thinking that was the greatest movie I've ever seen. I
Oh
want to see
yeah.
this again. And it was one of those too that at the end you just didn't want it to end. It was just so much fun.
Yeah.
And that's just the way that this thing was made too. Like the big set pieces, the action was just I mean, it was piled on top of each other, the action scenes.
Yes.
So you
Yes.
didn't really have time to breathe. And the in between scenes were still the way they were filmed, it was still beautiful to see.
Hmm.
I mean, this thing was just incredible. And then the impact it had on my life, I think, was this idea that holy crap, like this guy was Han Solo and now he's
Yes.
Indiana Jones. Like how I was just amazed. I was blown away by this movie. And I mean, it's just one of those movies too that now, it comes on no matter what scene is playing. You're like, I'm gonna watch this for a bit. And usually that it's like means the rest of the movie.
There isn't a weak scene in it. There isn't
No.
anything that you would cut down for time. So
Yeah.
when they would play it on television on one of the three channels, they always did it in 2 hour blocks. Like the 2 hour movie of the week was always the movie of the week was in a 2 hour block. Well, this movie is an hour and 55 minutes long. So there's not a lot you can cut down and still get your 25 minutes of commercials in. So
Right,
I
right.
just don't know what you would do if you're in that situation, if you're ABC, NBC, CBS. What do you do? How do you
Yeah.
show this to your audience? Do you show it with no commercials? Do
Yeah.
you, I
Well,
mean,
yeah.
it what do you what would, I don't remember it being on television. This wasn't one that I recorded off the TV like we've talked about in the past, where I had Fletch on
Yeah.
VHS because I
Yeah.
recorded it off of channel 2, and I would just watch it and fast forward through the commercials.
Well, this
um
was if you go on YouTube, you can see the bumper for the ABC Sunday Night Movie,
there
and
you go.
yeah, they have one for Superman. I think the original Superman tonight on ABC,
Yes.
the premiere, the broadcast premiere of Superman. Or they have one for Raiders of the Lost Ark too. So it's like, yeah, and it's pretty cool because then they'll say tonight on the ABC Sunday Night Movie the broadcast premiere of Raiders Lost Ark, whatever. And so,
Hmm.
anyways, yeah, it was kind of. I want to say that there's. I haven't seen all the cut scenes or anything like that, but yeah, it's just magical. And you bring up a good point too that this is an era of three networks when you just had three channels basically.
Yep.
And everything you watched and everything you got your news from or whatever was just on these three channels.
Yep.
Um, and let's see what was I going to say? Well, like, oh yeah, so um I wanted to talk about kind of how this movie got made because this is a really
Yeah.
interesting way this movie got made. This is like um so 77 Lucas gets he's done with Star Wars.
Hmm.
They're editing up until I think the night before, a couple days before or something. They're editing this movie and he's convinced it's going to be a dud. It's going to ruin
Yes.
his career. So him and Spielberg go to Hawaii and they're
Hmm.
sitting they're sitting on the beach and Spielberg had just finished up I think Close Encounters and he's saying, I want to direct a Bond movie. That's what I really want to do next." And so Lucas is like, "I got something better, man. I have this character named Indiana Smith or Indiana Jones, or no, not Jones. It wasn't Jones yet."
No, it wasn't
And
Jones.
and and he tells them all about it. Spielberg is like, "Great, I love this. Let me go make this movie, and maybe we'll get back on it." He goes to make 1941, which is a complete bomb, both
Hmm.
critically and at the box office. And and so Lucas goes on to make what Empire Strikes Back,
Yep.
and now they're free to kind of make this movie. Now you have let's see, you have Spielberg directing, you have George Lucas producing and working with as kind of like an overseer of this.
And writing this.
Yeah, right. Well, they get Lawrence Kasdan to write.
Lawrence Kasdan writes
Yeah,
the screenplay.
right. So this is like the kind of this is like a super group if it was a musical group, right? And
100%.
and you have the editor, you have the director of photography, I mean, this is an A list of
You have
people that get
Frank
together.
Marshall
Yeah, producing. So
producing.
Douglas Slocum is the director of photography, and he would
Hmm.
go on to do a lot of Spielberg movies. And Michael Kahn is the editor who did Saving Private Ryan, bunch of
Yeah,
Spielberg movies too. I mean,
yeah.
great movie.
You
So
have the
yeah, I
you have a
mean,
score. You have a score
oh
by
yeah,
John Williams. I
John
mean,
Williams, who gives him two. Who
gives him
gives
two
him?
scores.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it doesn't. Which one should I use? And Spielberg's like, well, use. How about you use both? Use this one for
yeah.
this, and then have it come in at the end with this, and it's just magical. What do you think kind of comes out of all of that? Can you see that in the finished product?
Oh,
Toby,
you do. Excuse me. We'll cut that out.
have that removed.
Yeah, yeah. And we're back. So, just the dynamic between these two, George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, who had been competitors. They
Right.
were kind of the Dr. Jones, Renee Belloc of filmmaking. One's from USC, the other's from UCLA, and they would have these film competitions at the same time. And they were competitors, but they had this mutual respect.
Oh yeah.
And I don't you hear about that, and these guys could be, just enemies, like trying
Yeah.
to battle each other, and they're, if anything, they're lifting each other up.
Yeah.
And it shows in all of their work. When
Yeah.
you look at George Lucas's work without the help of, say, Spielberg, and vice versa, you can almost kind of tell that it's missing that little something in there, because George Lucas created an absolutely incredible character, but his original thought, Indiana Smith, or
Yeah.
was going to be this James Bond kind of womanizing, smooth talker, and Spielberg kind of rounded those edges off,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and you have this refined product that is not Han Solo, which who's the coolest guy in the galaxy at this time is Han Solo. He's been Han Solo in now two movies, and now you have him as this archaeologist from the 30s. Is there anybody cooler than 1981 Harrison Ford?
Yeah.
I don't know that there is. And you have his spin on it, where you've got his good looks and his kind of quirkiness that he adds to it, and the fact that it looks like he's got it all put together, but he doesn't.
Right.
Like he
Right.
says, I'm just making this up as I go. And so for these filmmakers, when you have someone like a Harrison Ford, who George didn't want as Indiana Jones, because he
Yeah.
was afraid that he was going to fall into a Scorsese-esque. Scorsese has Robert De Niro in all his movies, and I don't want to do that. And it was like, you can't imagine anybody else in
Right.
this. I don't know who else you could have. I don't know if you do like a Warren Beatty, but Warren Beatty's not available at this time because he's doing on Golden Pond. On Golden Pond
Oh, this
in
Beatty. Yeah.
1981. Yeah.
Well, originally he wanted Tom Selleck, but
Oh boy.
Magnum PI wouldn't let him out of his
Sure.
contract to do it. So he was like, "I'm in a bind. What should we
Yeah.
do? Maybe I'll just go get." He started looking at Star Wars and this. He's like, "Okay, I want Harrison Ford," and I think
Yeah.
Harrison Ford was kind of. I don't know if he was reluctant to do it, but I don't know if he just jumped right on. But I could be wrong about that. But yeah, that's an interesting point too, because I think that a lot of times people watch this movie and think, and like we did, I feel like going back to my original point was that this is how movies are made. This is how every movie should be,
Yeah.
big and epic and grand and scope and all these kind of things. But I mean, Harrison Ford wasn't really up until Star Wars. He wasn't really known per se. I mean, he had bit
Right.
parts in a lot of Coppola movies. He was in The Conversation. He was in Apocalypse Now,
Yeah.
but just bit parts. And this as the story goes, he's reading with potential Han Solo and Luke Skywalker parts for Star Wars. And George Lucas just goes, "Hey, do you want the part? You seem to fit it." And that just kind of skyrockets him to fame after that. And I think that
Wasn't he a carpenter on the sets of some
yeah,
movies? And okay.
well, he was a carpenter and he did Valerie Harper's house and he did George Lucas's house when they moved or something like that. I can't remember
Okay.
exactly whose house, but yeah, he was a carpenter in between acting gigs, and yeah, he just Star Wars just shoots him up to the upper echelon of the actors. and now he's, I've saw this documentary on Blade Runner, and they were
Nice.
talking about, or maybe it was Star Wars, but they were talking about. He was saying, well, how did he feel when Star Wars came out? And he was just like, all right, that means more work, So he was
Yeah.
hungry, he had that hunger, and he always played that kind of hell, kind of. He has that element in every part that he has, He's and now he's kind of like this grumpy old man,
Yes.
and but he kind of had a little bit of that even at the beginning, because I think that he just never really bought into the whole fame thing, and it's obvious because you never really hear about him, DUIs, or I mean, now lately, it's last 10 years or so, it's like, oh, he's had some plane trouble, but whatever. I mean, so I think, yeah, I
Right.
mean, I
He's a
think,
big pilot, right?
yeah, yeah,
That's right.
he's gotten in the headlines for like landing on the wrong runway at an airport
Okay.
and crashing on a golf course, and so, but
Classic,
yeah,
classic Harrison.
the huge. But yeah, and it's great. And we were speaking about the Rewatchables podcast, and
Yes.
they were talking about his run of movies from, was it 77 up until 93, up until The Fugitive. And
Okay.
just listening to the movies that he did during that time, it just runs the spectrum of, you know what, sci-fi, drama, action, adventure. I think Star Wars and Indiana Jones movies kind of just defined his career during this time too. But he also did like Working Girl,
Yes.
Witness,
Witness was, yes.
The Mosquito Coast. So if it
Oh,
wasn't a
yeah.
big hit, he was still working with really good directors and actors. And I don't know, it's just his. I mean, it's
You forget
amazing
about
his
the
run.
Mosquito Coast, which they remade. Speaking of remakes, I'm listening to you and Scott's podcast that
Yeah,
came out yesterday. Shout out uh, about remakes, things that should be remade and shouldn't. The Mosquito Coast, the television show, different than the movie quite a bit, similar way, but works on both ends, I
yeah,
think.
yeah.
And Harrison Ford is incredible in the Mosquito Coast. If you haven't seen the Mosquito Coast or heard of it, check out the Mosquito Coast. It's
I
a fascinating, fascinating story.
They come out with a TV series. I think I
Yeah,
remember hearing about it, but what channel or platform was it on? Do you
I
remember?
it's on. I think it was a Hulu
Oh,
program.
okay. All right.
I don't remember. It
Yeah, I
ran
don't.
two. It was two seasons, and I think it was a quick one. Two
Yeah,
seasons and out.
yeah,
Um, but
yeah,
if it's coming back, I didn't. It's been a while. It's been several years since
yeah.
the
Well, I
last
think
season,
his
but I think it ended.
yeah, I think one of my favorites is Witness, that he was in outside of these two trilogies. That was a good one, because you saw kind of glimpses of Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones in that role, and
Yeah.
the way his interpretation of that character, anyways. But never anything that would be overly obvious, right? But Witness was one of my favorites. Top Gun was another one. Just kidding.
You're mentioning Top Gun because of the Kelly McGillis connection there, aren't you? So Witness was interesting because we all had crushes on Kelly McGillis at the time, and then she's in Witness with Harrison Ford, and she's the Amish
Hmm.
girl, and you're like, I
Okay.
don't know what I was expecting, but not yeah, I don't know, but
Yeah. Yeah, but that working with Peter Weir, his films always have this kind of darkness around. It's like kind of always a dark movie, or it's always something that's he I think he likes to talk about the darkness of the human experience in some
okay,
way. But yeah, so anyways, let's get back to this movie, Raiders of the Lost
yes,
Ark. So this comes out in 81, the 1982 Academy Awards comes up.
yeah,
Um, let's
nominated
see.
for what, eight, nine Academy
Yeah,
Awards, wins
I
four of
think
them,
9 total,
nine total.
wins 5 of them plus one special achievement award. So the wins include best art direction, best editing, best sound effects editing, best visual effects. The nominations, get this, best picture and best director
Yeah,
for Spielberg, and for the lot. Best cinematography. I feel like cinematography wise that this is my introduction to this kind of the filmmaking, because it was really captured the essence of back in the 30s, right? I mean, obviously it's modernized for today, but you had a lot of shadows. You had the brights were still kind of soft, and there was just a lot of the way they captured the action was really great. So the Raiders swept the technicals, but lost top prizes to Chariots of Fire and Reds.
Yeah.
So that's who
Yeah,
John
John
Wayne.
Williams.
Yeah,
John Williams was not. I was like, how did John Williams not win for best score?
yeah,
Chariots of
right,
Fire.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm like,
I
that's
mean,
the
it's
only thing. I looked at the rest of the nominees and I'm all, yeah, he would have won
yeah.
this if it wasn't for that doggone Chariots of Fire.
That was
Um,
everywhere too at that time. I remember that song. Dun dun.
yeah, immediate classics.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's see what else. You want to just kind of jump into the story here, this movie
So,
and
well, let's just give some shout outs here to Harrison Ford, Karen Allen
oh
as
yeah.
Marion. You have Paul Freeman as Renee Belloc. You've got
The
the great
Combaloche.
Belloc. Belloc. John Rhys Davies as Sala. I mean, what's not to love about John Rhys Davies? He, of course, played Gimli in the Lord of
Yeah.
the Rings
Yeah.
movies. Denholm Elliott as Marcus Brody. Amazing. He plays the early Brody,
Yeah.
which we see here as seems like a very intelligent, very well put together Marcus Brody. When we
Right.
see him in The Last Crusade, he's lost a step,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. He's kind of
and
more of
even
a bumbling idiot, you
he
know.
is a bumbling idiot. Yeah. So it's interesting to watch this dynamic where he's sharp in this one and he knows
Right.
his stuff and he's the boss. He's
Yeah.
Indy's boss by
Yeah.
all for all intents and purposes. Ronald Lacey as Tot, which we don't hear his name in the movie unless it's from a deleted scene, but he is the heavy in this, the German, a very scary
Yeah.
German with the black suit and the
Yeah.
burns his hand on the. That's Ronald Lacey, who would also be in The Last Crusade as a Nazi officer. Officer doesn't have any lines, but he's in Last Crusade
Is
as
he?
well.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I
he
didn't know
is.
that.
Yeah, right before he passed away. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, hard to see because they give him that funky haircut in this, where
Yeah.
they shave
Yeah.
his head. You can tell in one scene where he takes his hat off and dries his hair. They've shaved that kind of Mr. Burns haircut into him. That's not what his hair looks like in real
Uh,
life. I'm like, oh, thank God, this poor guy is. But the evil John Denver, as I like to think of him as a kid, I was like, there's a John Denver's evil twin. This guy here. You have Wolf Collar as Dietrich, and of course, you have Alfred Molina as Satipo. This is one
oh
of the first movies that we see Alfred Molina in,
yeah.
who everybody, of course, knows. I think is Doctor Octopus from the Spider-Man film.
Spider-Man.
John Williams does the score. We did the nominees, 9 Oscars. It's released on June 12th, 1981. It's a 18. Uh-oh. I'm reconnecting. Okay.
Oh, okay.
The budget, okay. Budget was $18 million, which sounds like quite a bit of. It sounds like they spent more on that. You watch this and you're like, looks like they spent a lot more money than 18 million, but it grosses 248 million. So it's a legit blockbuster. It's the
Yeah.
highest grossing movie by a long shot in 1981. The everybody loves it. 8.4 on IMDb. The critics have it at 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. The audience has it at 96%. It's tough to
Yeah.
beat 96%. You got to really work hard to. So I don't know who looks at this and doesn't like it. Maybe a Nazi wouldn't like it. Um, hey, it's filmed in Tunisia, which George Lucas does like going to Tunisia. The filmed in Hawaii, as well as the college scenes were filmed here locally at the University of Pacific in Stockton.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
All
the
right.
college. It's called Marshall College. They don't say it in the film, but it's where Indiana teaches is a college called Marshall College. It's supposed to be in Connecticut, but all filmed out in Stockton. And the campus still looks like it does in the movie from 1981. They make it look like it's the 30s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Set 1936. Not the earliest in the Indiana Jones trilogy. I would call it a trilogy. I know there's 4 or maybe 5. Is there a 5th one coming out? I think they did a fifth. They said there was supposed to be a fifth one.
3, 4, yeah, it was The Dial of Destiny. Did you ever watch that?
Dial of Destiny. I did, saw it in the theater, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
It was like, okay, this is one where I don't know if we needed to do this,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
they got Karen Allen back in, and Sala was in that one too, if I remember
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
They got the whole gang back in for a money grab. So yeah, let's get into it.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna talk about this movie, this kind of sets the standard for how to start a movie like this, right? The
Oh,
opening
absolutely.
s the opening sequence, right, at that temple. Everything is just so great up and I mean, even up until his introduction of the character, because you're seeing an arm, you're seeing
Yep,
his hands,
he's in the
you're seeing
shadows.
you're seeing him from far away. Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And this goes back to I feel like this goes back to the 40s, right? Because like you have this, oh, I mean, literally because it's set in 36, is that what you said?
36. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And back then you had, movies were not you had movies, but you also had these serials, right? So you had of action adventure things like this that were, cliffhangers. So you'd have to come back the next week to kind of see how this finishes out, right? So that
Yes.
initially the movies were like TV. And so you have this, this character who's a slow build. And what did you think about that opening scene? Like, what did you think about the way they introduce this Indiana Jones character?
So it's first thing I wrote in my notes. It really sets the tone
Yeah.
by introducing this. Like you say, you see everybody else. You see the other guys. The he's got a there's a leader, and you can tell he's the head of the pack as they're walking over through the jungle. And you see everybody else's face, and they kind of look at each other, and they have some lines back and forth, and they, the Jovitos, oh, they're, the poison's still fresh 3 days. And one guy gets scared off, and so that guy runs. And then the crew is getting smaller and smaller, and we still haven't met this star of the show. We haven't met our hero yet. And when they introduce him as he's about to be, his one of his crew betrays him and is going to rob him of the map, because one guy's got half of the map, he's got the other half of the map. And once both pieces of the map are together, at that time, the guy pulls the gun out, and you hear a whip crack of the whip, and the gun goes flying off, and that guy runs away. And then here he
Dun
comes out
dun
of the shadows into the
dun.
light, and it's this handsome fella right here, if you're watching
Yes.
us on the YouTubes.
Yes.
And you're just like, yay! And as an 11-year-old, or I guess however old I was by the time I watched it, yeah, 11, 12, something like that. It's Han Solo. And you're just like, so from that to yes, just introducing the character is just such a cool way to do it. It's
Yeah.
a timeless way of doing it. You can't go wrong by doing this.
Well, yeah,
Great film, great movie making.
it kind of reminds you too of the Bond films, right? In the sense that it opens with kind of a teaser or something like you always see in Bond films, the action that kind of sets up the movie. And really, I mean, you're watching his character getting introduced, and it's there's no dialogue needed, right? So you
No.
need yeah, there was this thing I think Chris Ryan was saying from the rewatchables was saying that Steven Soderbergh had he re-edited the intro of this movie, put it in black and white, and put the score from I think the Social Network on top of it, and said
Okay.
that you don't even need any dialogue and you know what's going on in these scenes.
Yeah. That's
And the way that it's set up, I feel like that's right. I mean, I looked at it again when I was doing this deep dive, and it's incredible. I mean, it's just kind of the way that I feel like films need to be set up, or action films, I should say, need to be set up and copied, because this is just kind of a class in movie making right here. So you have like the Golden Idol, Dart Traps, Collapsing Four, and then that boulder chase. Now this was the
oh
thing that I think when you came home, you just did this with your friends, and I'm going to be Indiana Jones, and then you do the trip and fall and get back up, and that's what we
yes.
did. That's what you did as kids back then. Is you just
Yeah.
recreated these movie moments. I remember doing that with Ghostbusters, and he slimed me. Me and John would
Yeah.
recreate it. So
The
I
bag of
mean,
sand, and then
yeah,
taking a little bit out, like. he's, looking at the idol and going, trying to figure out what this thing weighs. It's
Yeah.
solid gold. And he's like, no, I think I got a little bit too much sand here. Let a little bit out. And
Yeah.
I mean, all these things, and funny too, because he's like, he does the swap and then he does the little tip of the cap to the gods and he
Yeah.
turns around and the whole place starts coming down and you're like, it's legitimately hilarious when the thing starts sliding down. You're all, you better go. He's got to go through all the darts that the little,
Yeah.
I mean, the booby traps. And I mean, when we're kids, booby traps, it's about booby traps. It's about quicksand,
Yes.
and you got guys
Quicksand.
swinging on vines, and this was the stuff,
Yeah.
right? This
Yeah.
all these little things. If it didn't have, if the, all that was missing was killer bees from this movie, and it would have had literally everything else we were looking for. Maybe some piranhas, you know.
Yeah, this was the only thing that I had that always kind of takes me out just a little bit, and this is
Yeah,
like the smallest thing ever, is that when he tests the dart thrower thing, contraption where he puts the what do you call it, the
he
thing with the
takes the stick or the
yeah,
torch or whatever it is,
yeah,
and it
the
slides down.
torch, and he pulls it down. That thing is really low. I mean, they're bending down, they're on a knee, and the thing hits the thing. So I'm thinking, so it's set up just to hit your ankles when someone's actually, but that's, and then when he runs across after he has the thing, it's shooting really high. So
Right.
that's my only thing about that scene that really kind of like, oh, okay, that's interesting. But it
I
just tells
do.
you I'm paying attention. That's all.
It is. And there might be some little minor continuity issues, but I think at this point, I mean, when you watch it for the 45th time,
Yeah,
like
right.
I had this
Exactly.
week, I'm like,
When you have 40
okay,
years, 50 years of watching it,
right. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, really, they'd set this thing up and just walk away from the temple and then just, okay, it's yours if you can get it. I mean, this kind of idea of like, this is a very elaborate
Yeah, yeah.
place to store your idol that you can't go get.
Yeah,
I mean, they
right.
would obviously, they know the traps, and this is classic Indiana Jones. You're gonna have traps. You're gonna there's traps in all of the movies. There's got to have this series of traps, and I mean, this is how it was.
Yeah.
It's how it was done in movies at the time. I don't know that you would do it this way now. I mean, I think maybe you do have some of that. It's probably more computerized where you got to get the treasure and you're going to rappel in from the ceiling and there's laser beams everywhere. So you still have that
Yeah.
everything's booby trapped kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
movie trope.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got the don't stay away from the light because it'll spring somehow it springs the bamboo, the bungee spears come out, and that's where Forrestal cashed in. And you see Forrestal early on. You see this dead body. I mean, that's a little like first five minutes of the movie. There's 7-year-olds watching this, and there's this corpse that's you're like, "Oh, God."
Yeah. So then
But the practical effects are next level in this.
yeah,
Yes, yeah,
that's a big part of the magic of these movies is that it's not, I mean, you get to the end, you get to Dial of Destiny, and even the one before that. What was the one before that? I don't even know, but
The Last Crusade.
no, the one after that one. And then you
So
get
there
to,
was a fifth one.
yeah, the Dial of Destiny was the fifth one. The fourth one was Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls.
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. You're right.
Yeah.
See,
And so
yeah,
when you get to those two movies, there's a lot of
there was a fifth
CGI.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, he's
So
what 80 years old.
right.
He's not running through bamboo spears anymore.
Well, he broke his ankle making the Dial of
This.
Destinies.
Oh, he
Yeah.
did. Well, he
Yeah.
broke it. I think he tore some ligaments in his knee filming
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
So
airplane ran over his foot
that's
in
right.
that
Yeah.
fight
Yeah.
scene, and like he twist, but it was so hot that the tire was flat, and so it didn't break his foot.
Right.
So yeah, something I read. I'm like, that sucks. But he
So
just rub some dirt on it and
yeah.
keep working. You're 35 years old or
Right.
whatever, however old he is at the time.
So we get to Marshall College, like you said.
Well, hang on now. Don't forget. So we get to meet Balosh.
Oh,
They
that's
call him
right.
Balosh.
Belloc.
Belloc. Belloc. And we meet Belloc. These two have obviously known each other. They're competitors, like you
Right.
said. As he's telling Satipo on his way in, so this is where Forrestal cashed in. He's all friend of yours. He's all He's a competitor. So
He was
this is
good.
the he was good. He was very, very good. But they knew that this was the end of this is as far as Forrestal got.
Yeah, yeah,
And so Indy's very good too, but Forrestal beat him here. So Forrestal was very good,
yeah,
just didn't know don't stay out of the light because that's the first trap that you get to.
yeah.
He didn't make it past the first trap. This guy made it all the way there. First trap, dead. And one thing I do have to note is because I'm really paying attention to these things now, especially with the score
Oh
on what
yeah.
John Williams has done. When they first enter that cave and they're covered in tarantulas,
Oh
you hear the score. It's all beep, 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 with the, and I don't know what the plucking of the strings does, but that's spiders to me.
yeah, yeah.
If I see a big spider, I hear that plucking of the strings from John Williams. I don't know what made him think of that, but it couldn't be a better way of describing what it's like to be covered in freaking tarantulas.
Well, there's this B movie that William Shatner did in the late 70s, I believe, maybe early 80s, called Kingdom of the Spiders, and it's about this cargo plane crashes, and it's full of spiders. It's transporting the
Okay.
spiders. These
Okay.
spiders
Good.
take over this small town, and
Okay.
that's the sound that I hear. Not exactly like that, but it's that kind of sound every time they showed the spiders. Like
Oh,
ding. Yeah, it works. It's effective.
I mean, the spiders are enough of a booby trap. I'm out, dude. I'm
Yeah,
not going in this
yeah,
cave. I
yeah.
mean,
Anybody got a
and
can of
Alfred
Raid?
Molina, yeah, Alfred Molina is literally covered in tarantulas in this. I mean,
Yeah.
he turns around, he's like, turn around, and his whole back has got tarantulas on it. Oh,
And a
nope.
story from the set was that when they put the tarantulas on his back, they didn't
Yeah,
move. They just stood there. And Steven Spielberg wanted kind of crawling action.
yeah.
So the guy that handled all the tarantulas was like, "Oh, I got an idea." And they're all male. So he puts a female on them. They start going crazy. And that's the shot you see in the movie, is that all
Oh
the tarantulas start walking they're
no, I
just
don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Christina last night too. Nobody hates spiders more than her, and she was like, "Okay, I forgot
yeah.
about this part." And I'm like, "Oh, forget about the spiders, don't you?" And it's just such a little thing that could be the whole movie of just running from these damn spiders. No,
Right.
just brush them off with your whip, move, carry on.
So we get to Marshall and we see what he's doing.
Well, now
He's a
hang on.
oh,
Don't mean to interrupt you.
okay.
Belloc takes the idol, right?
Yeah.
The idol is called the Golden Idol of Fertility.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yes, it's a golden idol. It's a Chichopian of the Chichopian warriors.
Oh,
Okay, it's
okay.
a female that is giving birth. That is what you're looking at. It's hard to tell because you don't get to really. I mean, you see a couple close-ups of it, and it looks like just a face, but it is a woman who is squatting and giving birth. That's what the idol represents. And so Belloc takes it from Indy, gives Indy a chance to run, and Belloc's like, like kill him. So Indy runs right, and no, he swings on a vine. Start the engine, Jock! Start the engine. Gets out of the plane. He's free. Wait a minute. There's a big snake on the plane.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's just my pet snake, Reggie. Everybody's betrayed him. Jock's the only one left in his crew that hasn't betrayed him, and he's got a big ass snake in it. I hate snakes, Jock.
Yeah.
I hate
Yeah.
them. So, which lays the groundwork for later in the movie. And you're like, it didn't have to be a snake in there.
Right.
It sets the tone for something that happens a little later in the movie. So,
Well,
anyway, sorry to interrupt. And
no,
then
no, no,
they
no.
make
That's
their escape.
awesome. Because you're right. That's a little Easter egg there that sets up. It's
Yeah.
a little pays off in the end. So then we get to Act 2, I guess, in Marshall
Yep.
College.
We get to the college. Yeah.
We see that he's a professor, and all the girls love him.
Yes.
But then Army Intelligence kind of gets a hold of him and tells him what sets up the story, which is they're looking for this Lost Ark of the Covenant.
Well,
And
they've intercepted a transmission from the
Yeah.
Nazis.
yes,
And what brings Army Intelligence to Marshall College is because Ravenwood is mentioned in this, and they go, "Well, who would know where Ravenwood is?" Well, his best student was Indiana Jones, who now teaches at Marshall College. So that's what leads them.
yeah,
Why would they go to Indiana Jones? Why come to this guy? Well, this guy might know where he is. We need to
Right.
find him because he's in this Nazi communique.
yeah.
So yes.
So, and it's such a great scene too because it sets up for the audience what this movie is going to be about with,
Hmm.
and it puts it in you know, a lot of exposition is told in this scene, and it's a great way to kind of say the exposition without being, you know, so overt about it, right? So obvious about it. And it's a great way because these guys don't know what they're, you know, they don't know anything about what the Lost Ark is or what it does. And so it's kind of a good way, which is one of the army guys is Porkins from Star Wars.
It's
And
right.
yeah, and also the guy in Batman who's you when you run this town, Jack, you know, that guy.
Uh-huh.
I forget his name in that movie. But yeah, so then, you know, he tells the story about what's going to happen, what the Lost Ark is. He opens up this book and kind of
Hmm.
shows them, and
And they're all,
they're on
good
board.
God.
Yeah, they're on board. They're just like,
The
okay, like
army's
when,
like, good God.
yeah,
That's just what the Hebrews thought.
and that's what the one of the army guys is like, you know,
Right.
and
They
he's like,
like
oh, I see, we
Pork.
came to the right guy now.
That's right. Porkins is they got the kind of a good cop, bad cop
Yeah,
of these
yeah,
army guys. One guy is very interested, like he's in listening. The other guy's like, okay, not believing like it is a headpiece of a staff of
right.
Ra. You know, like he's not
Well, and
buying it. The other
it
guy's like, carry on, dude.
gives you
Tell me.
the precise location of the Well of Souls, where the Ark
Hmm.
of the Covenant is kept, right?
That's
Exactly.
exactly.
That's fucking great, man. I mean, this movie, it's just scenes like that, right? It's just setting up for the next scene. It's setting up for the next action piece. And then,
For the end, oftentimes it's setting up for the
yeah,
very end of the movie where you're going to see how what happens. This book that they open up and they
yeah,
show the ark on the hill and it's killing this army below.
yeah.
What's coming out of there? Oh, lightning, and you're
Wrath
like,
of God
wrath
type of
of
stuff.
God. Yeah, wrath of God type of stuff,
Uh,
which
y-
Indy doesn't believe either. But hey,
yeah, yeah.
it's in this book, so
Well, I think that this movie kind of sets up why I didn't really like Dial of Destiny.
yeah.
It's a callback to this, and I was reading some kind of essays and video essays about this. It was that it's kind of a callback to Indy, the woman in Dial of Destiny who he kind of befriends. It's kind of a callback to Indy in this movie, which is in this movie, Indy's really does not care really about anything but what he's going after. So
Interesting.
he's willing to kind of like because the scene where the next scene where Brody comes and says, they want you to go for it.
Hmm.
That scene, speaking of scenes being cut, there's a deleted scene in which it's implied that Indy is there with why he's in a robe is that Indy's there with a student of his and they're kind of getting saucy.
Uh-huh.
And so yeah, so when that scene happens, you kind of see he forgets about that girl and he's just all about, yes, let's go get this. And I feel like
Do we know if it was the girl from his class that had written "Love You" on her eyelids?
maybe, I don't know. I haven't really seen the cut
I haven't
scene.
seen that deleted scene either,
Yeah,
but I've read about it.
I've just been informed about it, and
Hmm.
maybe it is. I want to say that it's out there somewhere. It probably is. People in the comments, let me know, like if
Yeah.
it's out there for to be watched. But yeah, I think so. Anyways, yeah, so he gets the okay to go get this thing, go find it, and that just sets up the whole Nepal scene, which Marion Ravenwood. And what do you think about that scene? What are your thoughts about that?
The well, just to go back for a second,
Yeah,
the he tells Indy tells Marcus, "Oh, come on, you don't think, yeah, I don't believe any of that hocus pocus mumbo
yeah,
jumbo." And he's very, and besides, I'm always cautious because it is something that short round was right. Short round was right in Temple of Doom, which it chronologically takes place a year before
hmm yeah,
um, the events of Raiders of the Lost Ark. And what Short Round said was fortune and glory. That's all Indy really cares about is
yes,
fortune and glory.
exactly.
And so, like you said, he's not worried about the wrath of God and the lightning coming out of there. And you don't think I believe in all this stuff. And his dad did a really a disservice to him because his dad was obsessed with the Holy Grail
Yeah.
and was made him read all of the learn Latin and learn all this stuff, and he didn't care about any of that stuff. So all he cares about is, yes, he wants to find the artifacts, but it belongs in the museum, and he wants to the fortune and glory, and he wants to, and that kind of changes by the end of the movie. His attitude towards it changes at the end of the
Yeah.
movie.
Exactly.
So yeah, but the Nepal scene is problematic, I feel, because, and it's really, I don't know if it was just because it was 1981 and this was more of a taboo thing, but there's some things that Marion says about their relationship
Oh
in
yeah.
the past
Yeah.
that is like, what the hell happened? How old was she? And how old was he when they
Yeah.
had this romance 10 years ago? She says, I was a child. I was in
It was
love. And he goes,
wrong,
you, it was wrong.
and you know it.
You,
Yeah.
you knew what you were doing. I mean, he's very cold to her. I mean, first of all, we learned that Marion's very tough
Yeah.
because the first time we meet her, she's having a drinking contest with one of the locals,
Yeah.
and she looks like she's hammered.
Yeah.
But the alcohol seems to have absolutely no effect on her whatsoever. She owns a bar. That's tip
Yeah.
number one. But at the end of the drinking contest, she pops up and she's fine. Like that comes into play later in the movie
Yeah.
too,
Yes.
where if they're going drink for drink. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's an Easter egg for a little bit
Yeah.
later. But he's Indy's very cold to her at the
Yeah.
beginning, and he's like something that he says that she's upset with him, and he goes, you don't have to be happy about it. I was like, what
Right.
did he mean by? I was like, I don't know if this was. I mean, is she 15 years old and now she's 25?
I
What? I,
always
I
took
don't
it.
know. I
Yeah.
think this was fleshed out, and there's been other there have been animated series about it. There was the Young Indiana Jones TV series. I never watched any of that. Maybe they go in and clean that up. Maybe she was 18. She says, I was a child, I was in love. I'm hoping she was an adult, but
Well, I always took it, and this is my naivety, because as you know, at this age, you know, when we did our Back to the Future podcast, which we should probably revisit, but when we
sure.
did the Back to the Future podcast, I was all for Marty going after Lorraine, because I didn't
Sure.
put two and two together that was his mother. So
Yeah.
so when I say this is really naive of me to say, but I always thought that it was she had a crush, and he kind of led her on to the point where he wanted to get some stuff out of her, info maybe, because
Okay.
that's Ravenwood's daughter, so they're always around each other, and then he
Yeah.
just left without maybe saying goodbye. Now, I'm not saying I'm not trying to excuse it, but that's how it played out in my mind. And so I never, until now, yeah, now I'm like, what
Yeah.
happened? But back then, and enjoying that movie for the last, I don't know, 40 years, that's what I really kind of stick to, because I don't really want to know and you're right, it was the time, that time you're getting married at 16 and
Right.
15, and so
It could be that.
you're
It could be
marrying
that.
second cousins or first cousins, and so it
Sure.
could be that
Yeah.
too. I don't know, but I tend to just be like, whatever.
It's just one of those. If you go back and watch it today, you can't miss it
Yeah.
on a
Right.
rewatch in 2025. When she says, "I was a child, I was
Yeah.
in love."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
What? Like, what did this guy do? Like, I want to like Indiana Jones a lot, but what the frick happened here, man?
Yeah.
I don't
Um,
know.
well, I mean, and it sets up his character too, because he's obviously
He's just
a
there for one thing, man.
romancer.
He want
Yeah.
right,
With
yeah, and
his with his
he's not this swabbed. I mean, they cut out the scene with him. I didn't know it was a student that he
uh-huh.
was with. Like I
Well,
heard
it's
that he
inferred.
had a
I don't know
woman
if
in the
yeah. He
I
just
heard
has
that he had a
somebody there.
woman
Yeah.
and she's back in the bedroom and Marcus shows up, and if it's a student and Marcus shows up, then yeah, that would be problematic. You're
Yeah.
not supposed to be sleeping with your students.
Yes.
I don't care if it's college or, I mean, certainly not in high school. This is a college, so
Right.
we're all adults.
Right.
But yeah, you're not supposed to be sleeping with your
Right.
students, and that would kind of, if he's definitely, he likes them maybe a little on the younger side. I don't know. I mean, it's gross. Yeah, we can
Well,
move past this.
yeah. I mean, I think that's where Spielberg comes in and kind of,
He goes, nah.
yeah, kind of like shies away from that.
He rounds the corners
Yeah.
on this. Maybe he doesn't need to be that much James Bond.
Right.
Okay.
So we get into the bar fight, and she's
Yes.
coming in, and hey, it's a medallion, Marion. Are you going to tell me where it is and come back tomorrow?
It's used. It's worthless. It's a
Right.
worthless bronze medallion.
Right. And Tot
Yeah.
comes with the Nazis and
No,
proceed
that's right.
to blow up or to burn down the bar. The bar. That was a great set piece. There's so
Yeah.
many pieces to that, right? So there's the fire to the bar when
Yep.
he pours the alcohol. There's the shoot them both. That one.
Yes.
I mean, there's so
Yep.
many little bits and pieces. Indy gets rid of that one guy, turns around, and there's a guy with a gun.
Yes. He
Marion,
should be dead right there. Yep.
Marion shoots
Marion's
him
got
from
him.
behind. Just these little pieces that make that whole scene really kind of I mean, it sticks in your mind way after the movie's over.
It's
Um,
just action for action's sake, man.
yes,
It's we don't. It doesn't necessarily help build the characters. It doesn't really move the plot forward. It's just a great fight scene,
right,
and the
exactly.
whole place gets burned down. Well, Jones, still know how to show a lady a good time.
But then they become partners, and then they go to
Hmm.
Cairo and they meet Wasala, which is one of my favorite characters in
Yes,
this.
you gotta love Sala, man.
Yeah, Sala, hello.
Uh,
So they get some. So they go to where do they go? Where are they? Cairo.
they go to
That's what it is.
Cairo. Yep.
And this is the next set pieces for this where this story takes place. So you have the street chase where Marion gets kidnapped. You get the map room, and you get the well of the souls.
Yeah.
All these kind of elaborate set pieces, and it kind of sets the stage for the ending with the truck chase, the
Yes.
submarine, getting on the submarine, and then finally getting to the island. Now, the scenes in Cairo are just spectacular. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
and
a
they're all
fight
shot
scene in
during the
there.
day.
Yeah. They have John Williams' score for I don't know whose theme it is. Maybe it's Marion's that.
Hmm. Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
yeah, kind of
that's
a jaunty tune.
yeah. And then the famous story about how everybody got dysentery and
Except for Spielberg
yeah,
because he was only
yeah,
eating SpaghettiOs.
yeah. He was eating out of a can.
So he was supposed to disarm. He was supposed to disarm the guy in the black
Yeah,
with the big beefy sword
with those whip.
with
Yeah,
his whip, but they were all so sick that he just said, "What if we just shoot the sucker?" He looked great and action.
and they had spent so much time. I think they said 10 days choreographing this fight. And the
Uh
sword
huh.
guy is just hey, this is what I'm gonna do to just be like, I'm so sick. I just want to go back to my trailer. Let's just shoot
Right.
him.
They all got the what do they call it? The green apple trots.
That's
Everybody
right.
was sick except for Spielberg. They couldn't even move. The sweat through the shirt is real because of how sick they were.
Yeah, yeah. So you have that street chase, you have the sword fight. Then you move into the map room. They go to this
Well, he
teller
thinks he
guy.
kills Marion, right?
Yeah,
At one
right.
point, he thinks he's killed her. So
Wh-
he's wallowing. You see him at the bar, just wallowing with the monkey. And then somebody tells him, "Hey, somebody wants to talk with you." It's unclear what happened. He goes up and gets into the bar, and there's Belloc sitting in the bar,
You looking for me?
and he doesn't care. He's ready to die.
Oh
Like
yeah,
he feels like he's just. And you're like, how can he be so broken? He hasn't seen her in 10 years. It's because he thinks it was his
yeah,
fault that she's
right.
dead because he shot the driver, and then the truck blew up, and he's like, "Oh my god."
And
But
this is
somehow they switched the baskets.
yeah. Well, that scene to me, I never really got until I got older because I didn't know what they were talking
Right,
about
right.
and didn't realize how close to death Indy was because they're all ready for Indy to pull the gun. Everybody in that bar.
Oh, absolutely.
And so, it's this idea of like Belloc telling him we're the same. We're just different sides of the coin here.
He's
But
trying
we
to
want
push him to his side too. He's
yeah,
like he says something along the lines of, we're the same. All it takes is just one little thing. It's just one little push.
yeah.
And he's
He's
just all, now you're getting nasty. What? Let me ask you this: why doesn't Belloc just kill Indy right there? What's
yeah.
stopping him from killing him?
Because I think
He was going
Belloc
to kill him. He was going to kill him in the jungle.
because I think Belloc has this respect for him. I think that it
Okay.
doesn't play out really that well in the storytelling, but I feel like Belloc is like you said, he's constantly trying to get Indiana Jones on his side because he knows Indy's really good, and he knows he thinks that he's really good. So he's just kind of he's a salesman at this point, and it's
Mm,
basically World War II, right? So you have the Nazis, and then you have
yeah.
this French sympathizer, right? Which
Yeah.
is and
He's
then you have
played
the
both
American,
sides.
right? And then you have America and this American, and so you have this dynamic of come join, this army, come join us because we're gonna have unlimited funds. We can go after anything we want, and we'll probably get it. And he wants that glory, like Indiana Jones wants it. I think
Yes,
this is
right.
what the switch is where this is the beginning, not and it doesn't relieve itself until the end of Temple of Doom, but I think this is the beginning of his switch from, maybe it shouldn't be at any cost. Maybe I should be more aware of what I'm sacrificing or what I'm losing in this kind of trade off. And I
Hmm.
think with Belloc trying to convince him that no, 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 you're on the right path, man. Just come over here. We're gonna find everything. Excuse me. And
Interesting.
yeah, that's my take on that.
That's a good point because, like the Army intelligence guys say, Hitler's obsessed with the occult, and
Yeah.
he wants to find all these little tricks and trinkets. And so all those missions of finding the lost artifacts, if you come with me, we have unlimited funds. We can go get all those things instead of you trying to hit up Marcus Brody for $2,000 so you go to Marrakesh and
Yeah.
get the golden idol back.
Yeah.
Come with us. We're going after the big stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's, I mean, and as far as the timeline, Temple comes before this, right? But in terms of the
Right.
movie and the movie timeline, I think it's just kind of this idea that, oh, I've been looking for trinkets this whole time.
Yeah.
Here's this thing that you can go, like you just said, we can go find the big stuff. So I think that
Well,
that's
in
why he
Temple of
wants him
the
around.
of Doom, the whole thing that starts Temple of Doom, he's not trying to go help
Yeah.
this village in India. It was about a diamond,
Right. And
wasn't it? It was all about that
yeah.
big diamond,
Yeah. 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 Well, then they get sidetracked to India
right? The plane
and
crashes.
yeah. And he didn't want to go. He didn't believe in the story that the villagers were telling him until that kid came by
Right.
and showed him that little thing with the Shankara stones.
That's
That's when
right.
he realizes, oh shit, like this is some I can get famous after this, fortune and glory, like you were
Yeah,
saying.
fortune and glory.
And so I think that triggers that kind of thing because he in each of these movies there's this drive to kind of step up because in points of the movie, like you said, in Temple of Doom, it's just this diamond that he wanted, and he got the ashes of this samurai warrior or something that he traded it for. So
That's
now
right.
he's thinking, oh wow, the Shankar stones, these are kind of big deal. It's always stepping up in these movies about like what he wants. So yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So
So yeah.
Belloc, so the kids come and save him.
Yeah.
Salah's 9 children that he has come
Yeah.
and save him. And what is
Indy!
this? So what does Salah say? Better than the United States Marines. They come and
Next
rescue him
time,
out of
Jones, it'll take more than children to save you. Yeah, that was
the
Belloc.
whole the Belloc, yeah. And so they go and they see the old man
Yeah.
who reads the inscriptions on the back,
Right.
and they find out that the headpiece that it's unclear where Belloc gets a replica. It
Well,
just
yeah,
turns
it's from
out,
the hand, I thought, right? From the burned.
is it from the guy's hand?
I
That's
feel
what
like
they're
it.
reading.
Yeah, because
That's what I
because
was thinking too, but it's not super clear because
yeah, well, because Sala
they
says, oh, they only had they saw a copy of it.
so they have a copy of it based on
Right.
Tott's scar on his
You're
hand.
right.
They
Because
make a they
then
make a
late, yeah,
replica.
because then later in that scene,
That's
he
it.
goes about da 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 da. And he's like, "Oh, about 10 meal, whatever. And he goes,
Yeah, six
and
kadam,
on the other
and
turns it over and he says,
yeah,
take back this many
yeah, one
inches or whatever.
kadam. Yep.
And he said, you said that Belloc's copy only had one side. He's like, yes. He's like, that means that Belloc's staff is too big. They're digging in the wrong place because
So
the
you're
other side tells them, yeah, the other side tells them to cut back, whatever thing.
so you could read. So I didn't think that you would be able to read, but you're right. When Tott goes up and says Heil Hitler,
Yeah.
you see that his hand is burned, but I
Yeah.
didn't know that you could read
Yeah.
all of the that must be where they're getting
Yeah.
that.
That's
They
the only
just
thing
wrote
I
it
can
down and
infer.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's got to be it. Because then
yeah.
they show us the scar
Right.
later. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then they go see the guy. He tells them what they have to do, and then they go to the map room
Yep.
and find out. This is another great set piece. It's a small
Oh
miniature
man.
of the whole town.
Isn't it cool? Like
Uh
this
huh.
was like one of those where it's not a lot is happening.
Right.
It's it's a slow burn, but as a a teenager, as a 12, 13 year old, I'm just, this is popcorn eating time,
Yeah.
right? You're just like, holy cow, it's going to show. How's it going to do this? And then it
But
lights up, and
yeah.
you're like, oh, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Well, the John Williams' score again
Hmm.
underlies the whole scene with the so something's building, and
Yes.
it's just man, that score is just amazing. So he finds the well of the souls, and they go and they dig, and they
Well, he
do it at
finds
night.
Marion.
Oh,
He
that's
goes into
right.
the tent and sees Marion, and
Yeah.
Marion's like,
The
you got to
whole
get me out of here. And he's like, he realizes if I cut her loose, they're going to know I'm here. So
yeah.
he's got to leave her
Yeah.
tied up,
Yeah.
which sucks. And she's pissed, but he could,
Yeah.
if he had freed her, then they would have shut the whole operation down.
Right. Yeah.
Belloc was like obsessed with Marion. He crushing real hard, right? And so they go and they dig up the well of the souls, and the guys are chanting throughout the night.
Nah, 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 nah,
Yeah,
nah.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we used to think we'd had it when we were chopping wood one summer. Me and a couple of buddies. I was probably by 15 or 16 by this point, and we'd be like just stacking wood all summer long, and we would do that chant. Oh yeah, up to mile away. Oh yeah. For some reason, it's making me laugh now. It was 40 years ago or
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, that's one that sticks with you.
When they do it at night. They do it at night so no one will see them. But the thing
Right.
is that they get it in the early morning, and they just miss by I would probably say about a half hour that
They're
they
reeling the thing, and
yeah.
one of the funny parts too is when they finally get the lid off and the lightning crashes, and the big face of the big scary faces there of the statue, and
Oh.
Sala jumps back. Indy goes down, falls, lands, snakes everywhere that he hates. I hate him, Jock. I hate him. And Sala's like, see, I told you it'd be all right. Legitimately hilarious.
And that's a cool thing too, because in the early prints of the movie, you would see with the lightning strike, you would see the glass partition that was between the what is it, the viper? I forget what the snake is called. Old man brain, but
Did they have glass partitions up? They had.
yeah, it was in
Oh,
this
I didn't know
glass
that.
box.
Okay,
Now with the advent of like redoing it for Blu-ray and all this, they were able to kind of take that away. You can still kind of
special
see it.
edition.
Yeah. And you saw it better when Marion falls down in front of the snake.
Okay,
You would see it better. But yeah, so that they're able to take that out with with new technology, the
I
tube
mean they
technology.
use the tube technique. Yeah, get them working on the tube technology. Chop chop. Let's go.
Oh,
7,000 snakes they used for that scene. I read
jeez.
real snakes, and at
Yeah.
some point you look and you kind of thinking they didn't film this with 7,000 snakes. The hell they didn't.
Yeah.
They had real tarantulas. They had real snakes. I mean, this is 1981. We're not messing around. These are
Right.
not special effects. These are
Right.
practical
Yeah.
effects. We got a
Exactly.
snake wrangler. We got a tarantula wrangler. I mean, we got the whole cast here.
Yeah. So then we get the Ark of the Covenant.
We see the ark, which is
Yeah.
beautiful. How beautiful is this thing?
Dude, it
And
was
it
yeah.
looks like the book. The specs are as described in the Bible. You can go back and read the Solomon. I believe it's in the Book of Solomon where where the ark is really well described, and this is how big it's supposed to be and what it's supposed to look like. And yeah, absolutely. You look at that thing and you go, yeah, that's the Ark of the Covenant.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
that's why they got
I'm
a
convinced.
Oscar nomination for all that stuff, because it's just beautiful.
Oh
And
man.
Philip Kaufman, one of the
Yeah.
co-writers, was that's what he kind of contributed, was that whole setup and lore of the Lost Ark.
How do you make it glow without seeing the lights reflecting back and seeing like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
how do
well,
you get
that's
it to? It
Douglas.
looks like it's like absolutely glowing with energy.
Well, that's Douglas Slocum, the director of photography. They know how to do all that stuff. They know how to
Incredible.
light things and how to make
Yeah.
sure that you're not getting reflections and yeah. So I mean, it
Unbelievable. Yeah.
great. So they get the arc. They get double crossed by again. There is something that you cannot possess, or you possess, which I cannot take away.
Right at the end, man. He's right there at the end. Like this guy is just
Yeah,
picking up this the I don't want to say sloppy seconds. He's just waiting and coming in at the 11th hour and
that
taking.
that's
This guy
his
hasn't
mo.
found anything.
Yeah, that's his
He's not.
mo is to track, Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones do all the dirty work,
Yep.
and Belloc will get the reward and the fame and all that kind of stuff.
The fame and glory. Yeah.
Fame and glory. And so, they get trapped down there with Marion. They throw Marion down in there. And
Yes.
then this kind of goes into the truck chase by way of this fight with this, was it like a bomber type of plane?
Well,
Anybody in the
again with the James Bond and the James Bond aspect of it, you could just shoot them.
Yeah.
Instead, you trap them. Again, so many opportunities to kill the
What?
hero.
What? I'm just
What? I'm just.
putting
What's
them
the
in an
problem?
easily escapable plot, and
You know
I
what I mean?
won't even watch. What's the big deal about that?
This is what Austin Powers did. Is like, I've got a gun in my room. I'll go get it. Bang, boom, dead, done. You know exactly what
You just
you
don't
just
get it,
don't
Scott.
get it, Scott. I
Holy
mean,
shit.
just finish him.
Yeah,
These are the Nazis. They're
right.
so afraid to fire their gun. I don't get it. You know what I mean? Anyway, I mean, they
Yeah,
tried to shoot him in Nepal. They couldn't get him there. They couldn't get him in the jungle. They couldn't get him in the bar because the kids show up. I mean, this guy has so many lives. You just can't kill Indiana Jones, which is great because the movie would suck if he
right.
died right there. But they just trap him in there thinking, haha, well, that's all done.
Well, the stormtroopers are watching this going, maybe we can get some of these guys on our team.
Right.
So then after that, after the fight on the plane, which is great, one
The
of the
big, the
iconic
big,
scenes.
the big,
Yeah.
the big bulky guy with looks like the from the menu of Mulligan's restaurant that from Parks and Rec that Ron Swanson used to like to go to. Sorry, that's a deep dive, but that looked like the old Palooka
Yeah.
boxers from the 30s you used to see. And the guy's really like, come on, put him up. And you're like, this is 1936, isn't
Yeah.
it? Like, this is how guys would fight. Like, come on, you.
And it has that scene where that guy gets annihilated by one of the rotors or
He walks
propellers.
into the propeller blades. A classic move, man. You're walking right into the propeller blades.
So
Yeah.
then that comes, and
Yikes.
the icon. This is one of the best scenes, I think, is the truck chase.
The truck chase,
This
yes.
is one I really wanted to talk about, which was
Good.
he
I have some
hijacks
thoughts on this too.
and he hijacks his truck full of Nazis while
Mhm.
they're carrying the Lost Ark and or the Ark of the Covenant, and now has
That's
this
not lost anymore, is it?
brutal hand to hand combat on this truck. He ends up even getting shot in the arm and ends up going under the truck, getting back on, and taking care of the last guy. What are your thoughts on
He's
this?
dragged by his whip.
Yes,
Or is it his whip that he's being dragged by?
I think
Or he's
it's
dragged by something.
a there's a hook, there's a big clang. So I
Oh,
always
that's right. He
thought,
does hook something on. That's
yeah,
right.
so I always thought it was like a rope, but then
Okay.
I don't know, because then he
Good,
leaves it
handy
there.
to have that down there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he gets dragged behind it, and you see him fishtailing behind he gets back on the truck. I love the whole, it's just classic Hollywood stuff, right?
Yeah.
He chases him down on a horse, jumps onto the truck, he fights his way through the truck. Very James Bondy kind of, got to make your way up to the front. Like you said, he gets shot, he throws that one guy off the truck, lands on on the Mercedes behind him. You hear the Wilhelm scream
Yeah.
right there, which is a classic.
Ow!
Yeah, classic Wilhelm scream. It's in all of the James Bond. It's
Yeah.
not James. Maybe it's in James Bond, but it's in all the Star Wars movies. It's in all the Indiana Jones movies. It was in Rogue One.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to have the Wilhelm scream. So and Christina and I both at the same time wrote, yeah, high five, Wilhelm scream. Yeah, yeah. You can only do it once in a movie.
Yeah.
You can only do the Wilhelm scream once. But yep, he knocks one of the cars off a huge cliff that
Yeah.
comes from somewhere, which
Yeah.
I'm like, and there's all the James Bond. I did it again. All the Indiana Jones movies have a cliff scene.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There's always a big, massive cliff that comes from somewhere. So the cars, and you're like, is that in Cairo? Is there a big cliff in Cairo? I'm not sure where along the Nile Delta, but
Yeah.
I get past it. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
It's cool when you're a kid. You're like,
Yeah.
it did not make it.
Wow! So then this kind of culminates in Indy taking the whole truck, running over the last dude who
Yep,
tries to do what he did, tries to go under the truck but can't do it.
that's right. He gets run over by the truck, and
Yeah,
you say, "Oh!"
which
Arms and legs come up. And you're, "Oh,
which in Dial of Destiny is there's a homage to that scene at the
is
beginning of
there?"
at the beginning of Dial of Destiny. And then moves to the ship, yeah, with what's the guy's name?
Captain, we get bumps off the massive cliff. Katanga. The truck make
Katanga.
yeah. So I love the end of the chase scene where they hide the truck in Omar's garage.
Yeah,
The way
yeah,
they set that up, where the whole town knows, hey, this truck's going to come in.
yeah,
They don't know which truck it is because when he goes to, I'm going to go chase that truck. Meet me at Omar's.
yeah.
And Solid goes, how are you going to do it? I don't know. I'm making this up as I go. And so somehow he gets word to Omar, clear a space so when this truck comes in, you guys can put the market back together and then
Yeah,
he'll just disappear. It works out really well. Unclear how exactly the whole logistics of that is, but again, we can get past it. It's just a cool way. So the car comes back in, Belloc comes back in, Belloc and Dietrich come in. Where'd he go?
yeah,
Must not be in this. It's a fooey. And so off they go, and the whole town rejoices. Hey!
yeah,
And then
and
we meet Katanga,
yeah.
right? Yes.
My room is theirs. Yeah,
Yes. And he's great. And you love Katanga. You're still not 100% sure. He's got a nice dress for Marion
yeah,
to wear. All these guys have dresses. She's the only woman in the entire
yeah.
movie, and there's
Right.
all these dresses that fit her perfectly, which is that's fine. But
Yeah.
hey, you just bring an expensive nightgown with you wherever you go.
Well,
I
it's
guess.
this thing, this trope of the damsel in distress, which Mary doesn't start out as one, but I think toward the end, since she's the only woman in the movie, she turns into
Yes,
that damsel in distress.
she is yeah.
Yeah,
She has she's done. She's been fighting for herself for the last 10 years,
yeah,
and now suddenly, you're right.
yeah, yeah,
She tries to escape from Belloc. This is when she's got the knife and she pretends to be drunk when
yeah,
they're doing the
yeah,
drink for
yeah,
it's my family label. Right. But you're right. She
yeah.
becomes the damsel in distress.
And it's. I think it fits. I mean, this movie is
Hmm.
taking from so much from those serials, like I was saying it before, that you kind of need a damsel in distress kind of figure. Even
Yeah.
though she kind of fights that stereotype in some scenes.
It's not super obvious the way they do it. Maybe
Right.
that's because that again, watched it for the 40th time. And I never really put that together how she
Yeah.
was this tough. She's she's a business owner. She's in Nepal of all places, an American in Nepal, and she speaks Nepalese and she's drinking them under the table, and then all of a sudden she's, oh, help
Yeah.
me, Indy, and climbing
Yeah.
on his back and all
Yeah.
this. It's not super obvious, but once you point it out, it's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So then when that gets into the Nazis finding the ship and taking the Ark once again, and taking
Yes.
Marion once again, and
And
then
Indy is getting on the U-boat
yeah.
is one where it gives you anxiety. You're like,
Right.
if this latch is locked and he can't get in there,
Well, he
he's in
does.
trouble.
Well, he doesn't get into that. There's another cut scene which I've seen is that They
It never
never yeah, it
submerges.
never submerges, so he's holding on to the periscope, and it
Oh,
gets to the island that way. There's also at the time, there was a comic book released with the movie, and it shows that scene too as well. He's, like, holding on to the periscope. I think in the movie version,
whew.
the periscope, like, turns and sees him. I can't remember if again, anybody
Oh
in the
wow,
comments, if you know of the scene, let me know. So they get to the base, the
I didn't
submarine
know that.
base. The Nazis that have the Ark,
A
and they're
hollowed out volcano.
and then they're taking the Ark to this. They're going to do this like little
They're gonna do a
presentation or
ceremony,
ceremony or something, and to
which
see
Dietrich is not comfortable with. He tells him,
yes,
"I'm uncomfortable with this Jewish ceremony,"
yes,
which I guess makes sense. And he's like, "Listen, would you rather know that this is what it is before we bring it
yeah,
to your boss?"
yeah,
And he's like, "Well, I guess you got a point there."
yeah.
Anyway, we can talk more about that.
Yeah, and then on the way, Harrison Ford, he is disguised as a Nazi. He's at the back of the blind. He gets a
An RPG,
yeah, a bazooka or whatever you want to
a
call it,
bazooka, right? I'm
and
gonna blow
says,
it up,
"Get
Renee.
all I want is the girl."
Yeah,
And do it. Get back.
yeah, yeah.
Do with it as you will, though.
Yes, that's right. He calls his bluff. It's
Yeah.
so well done, and that is a very pivotal scene where he's like, "You want to see this just as much as I do."
Yes. Yes.
And meanwhile, there's a fly. I wasn't going to mention it, but you mentioned it in the pre-show, and I'm like, I hate it. I hate it so much. But he's such a pro
Yeah.
that he doesn't break care. I would have been like, the fly crawls into his mouth while he's talking, and nobody, and
That's
it
the
just
take
made
they
it into
use.
the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the take they use. Yeah, gross. This is a handsome fella. He just ate a fly
Yeah.
with every.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway,
anyways, yeah. So then they get to the place they're going to do this ritual, and they
yeah.
open up, and this is the great kind of climactic scene.
This is of all climactic scenes.
Dude,
Yes.
this kind of tops it. And you see the ghostly figures. You see Todd and Belloc's faces alongside. What was the guy's name? Dietrich, you said?
Dietrich.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was on one side, and Tom was out there flanking Belloc. And this is where Indy kind of remembers kind of what to do if this is opened. I don't know. I guess he knows the lore or something. He says, "Whatever happens, Marion, keep your eyes shut."
Yeah. You can't look at it.
Yeah. And so again, they have the three things. Faces melt, Belloc's head explodes, and what's the other one? What's the other one?
Well, the two guys' faces melt,
Oh,
and
okay.
then everybody's has the lightning is blasting through all of them, and then they all get swept up and wiped off the face of the earth. They just disappear. They're all
And
gone.
yeah,
The whole everything there is just gone.
yeah. Except for Indy and Marion, who
Indian
kept their
Marion,
eyes
who they
shut through
didn't.
the whole time.
Yep.
They survive. And then you get the ending where it's like top men. Ooh,
Yeah.
top
Really.
men. Yeah.
Again, classic. We still talk about this to this day. In you anytime you see a big warehouse full of boxes
Yeah. Yeah.
or documents or something, you just think, "Well, the Ark of the Covenant in here. You got the Ark of the Covenant in here." It became kind of a cliche.
Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely. And but the thing that I wanted to ask you was
Yes.
this: we've gone through this whole movie. What scene or scenes kind of define Indiana Jones? Like, what kind of defines him as a character? Like, you see his traits, or you see maybe his arc. Do you have a scene that kind of encapsulates what he's all about? And take your time to think about it if you need to.
The that encapsulates him. He's just always on the move.
Yeah.
He's doesn't really have any real slow. I think the truck scene really encapsulates him in the fighting. He doesn't really have to say anything, but we get to see that in The Last Crusade where he has to fight his way through the train.
Yeah.
As it's River Phoenix plays the young Indiana Jones, and he has to fight his way through this train, and it's 7 against 1, and he's always outnumbered. And so you have that with the samurais in the street scenes where he's like there's 20 against 1 there.
Yeah.
It's the fight scenes that I think really encapsulate Indiana Jones, where
Yeah.
he's good in those situations,
Yeah.
where he's just quick on his, he can think real quickly and react, and he's going to get hurt, he's going to get banged up, well, god damn it, Indy, where doesn't it hurt?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's
I think
perfect.
it's the fight. I think it's the fighting that really. You
That
don't think of him as a fighter, but
you're right.
he gets into fights multiple times in every single movie.
Well, I think to me, you brought up my point is that the beginning scene, the opening scene when he's getting the idol, and you see his knowledge of all the traps, right? So he has that
Folklore.
Yeah, he has that intelligence to kind of deduct, okay, hi. And you also see it again in Last Crusade. But in this movie, you see him, and then you see him get the idol, but then everything breaks, all his plans, come down. Like they just,
That's right.
and he had, like you said, he has to think, and he just runs through the darts. He jumps over the crevice, and he has to be smart. And then he gets cornered by all these natives,
Mm-hmm.
and he just has to think when all of his plans have vanished. He has to think. So I think, yeah, for me, it's the beginning scene. It shows you how not only intelligent that he is, but he's also quick on his feet. He's quick to kind of think about how to get out of this. So yeah, I think that was a good observation, man. Because I'm the same
He's
way.
both book smart and street smart.
Yes.
He's the combination of the two that we kind of all want to have.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would help if I was 6'2" and matinee good looks on top of that, but
Yeah.
we take what we can, right?
Who is your Clay Thompson Award go to for this movie?
Oh yeah, it's got to be a Tot. Is my Clay Thompson Award winner, because he embodies the heavy in this, where
Yeah.
it's Belloc, but is it Belloc? Because it's he's always been like the embodiment of evil. He's like the Darth Vader of this of this movie.
Yeah, he's always wearing black. Yeah.
He's always in black. He's very scared. He's very intimidating. I mean, when he goes to take off his jacket, he's intimidated everybody in the tent. Marion's intimidated. Belloc's intimidated. He takes the stick out, and they're thinking, "Oh my God, this guy's going to choke us out with these weird nunchucks."
Yeah.
And it turns out it's a coat hanger, and everyone's all, "Oh, thank God." I mean, just that, his very presence. He doesn't have to say a whole bunch.
Yeah.
He's great. I think it's tough. I mean, he is the heavy in this movie for me, and he's amazing. Yours?
Mine is Sala.
Yeah.
I love this dude. I love this character. I love the fact that it kind of shows or highlights Indiana Jones's kind of contacts in wherever he is, and that they've been on adventures before. You're always the best digger. You're the best digger in Cairo.
That's right.
And he knows all the underground. With the word on the street, he can always kind of go to him. Plus, he has kind of the comic relief in some of the scenes that's not overly comedic, but it's just enough to kind of lighten the mood for a second before continuing with the scene. It's like, I told you it would be all right.
It's very much not all right. He's got a cobra that's right face to face with a cobra.
And just the they call him Balosh.
They call him Balosh. This was it's one of our first.
Yeah.
When 20 years ago, when you and I were first becoming friends, this is one of those that you would throw out there and see if I knew. And of course, I knew it. So Belloc.
Yeah. So the Sala's mine, and
great. Great call.
I love that. Yeah, I love that one. Any final thoughts, dude? We're at the end here. This is a great fucking pod. Great fucking movie.
It's a great fucking time.
Total Prame.
I do have a couple thoughts of the. I had to look up what was going on in 1936 with the Nazis, because obviously the Nazis are a big deal in the 80s. They're the big. They are the big, scary, bad guys. We have, we had a lot of Cold War stuff going on too, but the Nazis were obviously they've got this big symbol that's red and black and big and very 1936 they had just they weren't taking over the world at this point. They had just consolidated power in Germany, so they were just really starting up.
Yeah.
As we know them, they hadn't obviously gone out and invaded Poland and France and started camps and done the Holocaust is
Yeah.
years away. And so I had always assumed that whenever you see the Nazis that it's wartime. It's not wartime. So
Yeah, this is pre-World War II or
it's
involvement of the
pre World
US.
War II. Yeah, well, way before our involvement at all, which doesn't happen until 44, or no,
41.
41,
Yeah.
41 in right. We don't, that's Pearl Harbor's what gets us, because we're like,
Yeah.
hey, that's a Europe thing,
Yeah.
man. We're not
Yeah.
what do we care? That's the other
Right.
side of the planet. We don't care about that. My one of my thoughts is while watching this is you kind of wish, and Tarantino did this where he kind of changes the past with his movies, like in Inglorious
Yeah.
Bastards.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
he changes the outcome of World War II, and but in this, you kind of wish they had just taken the Ark to Berlin and it opened it up for Hitler, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that would have just ended everything right there. But no, it ends up in a wooden crate
Yeah.
being worked on by top men.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's nice. I like that.
the book of Samuel, that's what I have written down. The Bible speaks. I was like, how did they know what it looked like? Well, the dimensions are all written down in the Bible. How did they know not to look at the ark? Is also in the Bible. It's in the book of Samuel where the men of Beth Shemesh look at the ark, and most of them are wiped out. They are stricken dead by the ark. The rest of the men of Beth Shemesh that didn't look at it then would go on and become kind of stewards of it.
Oh,
They were at that point very convinced that this
yeah.
is the real deal, and they would then go on and help protect the ark. And the story that's being told by Indy and Brody is the story of the ark, where they don't know where it ended up. A
Right.
lot of people
Yeah.
think it ended up in Tanis. The modern day theory is that it's in a church in Ethiopia,
Oh.
but honestly, we know it existed.
Yeah.
And if anybody does have it, maybe we have it in a warehouse in
Yeah.
Washington,
Yeah.
D.C. Maybe it is still, maybe it was, earthquakes happen. And if you've got
Yeah.
it tucked away in a cave somewhere and an earthquake happens and the cave collapses and all those people are gone, it could be buried under a mile of dirt.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't know. It's probably out there somewhere. Would you care if it was? If someone had discovered the Ark of the Covenant
Yeah.
I'm sure in the 80s we would have been like, whoa. Do you think anybody would it even make the news today? Hey, found the Ark of
Probably.
the Covenant. Yeah.
Yeah. Probably. I mean, it's just because everything religious, I think they think they found the Lost Ark or the Noah's Ark on top of a
Yeah.
mountain, and
Yeah.
so the cloth, what is that called?
The Shroud of Turin.
Yeah. All that stuff is newsworthy. So I would probably think if they found the ark, yeah, they would probably be like, "Yeah, we found the ark." So yeah.
That's pretty cool. I do like that last week we talked about space Nazis, and this week we got to talk about the real Nazis.
Yeah, yeah.
And I got to wear my Antifa shirt. That's the official and the OG Antifa warrior, Indiana Jones.
So yeah, my final thoughts is this is one of the greatest movies I would say in the last 50 years. I mean, you can play it now, and I think people will see that it still holds up today as an action movie, as something
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of set the bar for how a film needs to be made. I think it covers everything, like we were saying at the beginning, down into how it was filmed, the score, the actors, the director, the producers. This is just a kind of like I said, like a super group. If it was a music band, it would be a super group that made this movie, and it's one that I'll cherish. It's sad to see like a lot of these actors getting older. I was just talking to one of our friends, Jared, the other day about how everything is everybody's getting older. Everybody's getting older.
Yeah.
These things that we watch as kids. And, when I watch it now, it takes me back to being a kid every single time. I know exactly how I felt when I watched it the first time, and it's just as good. And so, with that, I just want
Yeah.
to say I'm grateful for this movie. It's a great movie. It's one of my favorites. So yeah. And so with that,
You said it, brother.
everybody that's watching, everybody that's listening, thank you. I hope you had a good time. Let us know in the comments if we missed anything, or if we want to clarify a point. It's so hard for me. It was harder to do a deep dive on this because I loved it so much that
Hmm.
everything was like, okay, I've seen that, I've seen that, I've seen that. But then you get a little deeper, and then there's something that you haven't heard about. So, anyways,
That's right.
puts that down in the comments, and
Yeah. Do the corrections department. Hit us
yeah,
up. Hit us up, the old correction. The comments are good about that. Hey, you guys forgot to talk about hit
yeah.
it. Yeah, let us hear it. Let
And
us
we'll
hear
talk
it.
about it. We'll talk about it in the
Yeah,
comments.
hit us on the socials. Hit us
Yeah.
on the Venmo. Dude, my Venmo's at Toby Dash Ballinger. Hit me on that too if you want.
And with that, thank you for joining us. And we're going to be back next week. Toby will be gone next week, but he'll be back the week after.
I'm
And
on assignment next week. And
yeah, you're
then
on assignment.
yeah.
And so then until then, we'll see you guys. Thanks for watching.
Bye guys. Thanks.